Good day, everyone. Dr. Amelia Fraser here. Now, I've been working in men's health for over 15 years here in New Zealand, and I've got to tell you something that might surprise you. The food you're putting on your plate every day could be making your prostate problems worse. Yeah, I know, it's not what you want to hear over your morning cuppa, but stick with me, because this could honestly change your life. I've seen blokes come into my clinic in Auckland struggling with prostate issues, constantly running to the loo at night, dealing with discomfort, and they've got no idea that their bacon and eggs breakfast or their Friday night fish and chips might be part of the problem. Research suggests that making smart dietary changes can significantly reduce prostate inflammation and size. Some studies have even shown reductions of up to 57% in certain cases. Though I'll be straight with you, results vary from person to person. Today, I'm going to share 7 foods you need to cut back on if you want to look after your prostate health. But here's the thing, I'm not just going to tell you what to avoid, I'm also going to share what you should be eating instead. Because let's be honest, we all need to eat something, right? Can't just survive on fresh air and good intentions. Right, let's get stuck in. But first, let me explain why your prostate health matters so much. Your prostate is the small gland that sits just below your bladder. It's about the size of a walnut when you're younger, but as you get older, it can start to grow. This is what we call benign prostatic hyperplasia, or BPH for short. When this happens, you might notice you're getting up multiple times during the night to wee. You're having trouble starting or stopping, or you might even feel pain or burning. Not pleasant, mate. Now, I had this patient, lovely bloke from Wellington, in his early 60s. He was getting up 5-6 times a night. His wife was about ready to make him sleep in the spare room. He came to see me absolutely knackered, and when we looked at his diet, crikey, it was like a textbook of everything you shouldn't eat for prostate health. We made some changes, and within 3 months he was down to once, maybe twice a night. His whole quality of life improved. That's why I'm so passionate about getting this information out there. All right, let's talk about the first troublemaker. Processed meats. I'm talking about your bacon, your sausages, your luncheon meat, salami, the works. Now, I know this is tough because who doesn't love a good bacon buddy on a Sunday morning, right? But here's what's happening. These processed meats are absolutely loaded with saturated fats, heaps of salt, and preservatives. They trigger inflammation in your body, and chronic inflammation is like throwing petrol on a fire when it comes to prostate problems. These products also contain nitrites and nitrates, chemicals that help preserve them and keep them looking good on the shelf. But research has linked these additives to increased cancer risk, including prostate cancer. And when you cook these meats at high temperatures, like frying up your bacon nice and crispy, you create these compounds called heterocyclic amines and polycyclic aromatic hydrocarbons. Big words, I know, but basically they're bad news for your cells. So what can you do? Well, you don't have to give up meat entirely. Just swap processed meats for fresh, lean proteins. Think chicken breast, turkey, or fish. And here's a Kiwi favourite. Try some nice fresh fish from down at the markets. Or go for plant-based proteins like beans, lentils, and chickpeas. Your prostate will thank you for it. Second on the list, full-fat dairy products. Your full cream milk, your tasty cheese, your creamy yogurts. Now, I can see some of you dairy farmers shaking your heads, but hear me out. Full-fat dairy can increase estrogen levels in your body. Too much estrogen can stimulate prostate cell growth, which can lead to BPH and potentially prostate cancer. Plus, these products are high in saturated fats, which increase your bad LDL cholesterol and promote systemic inflammation. The good news: you don't have to give up dairy completely. Just switch to low-fat options. Use trim milk or 1% milk instead of full cream. Choose low-fat cheese and yogurt. Or, and this is quite popular here in Auckland now, try some of those plant-based alternatives like almond milk, soy milk, or oat milk. They're usually fortified with calcium, so you're still getting your nutrients without the saturated fats. Number 3, and this is a big one for us Kiwis who love our fizzy drinks, sugary beverages. Your Coke, your Fanta, your fruit juices from the supermarket. These drinks cause rapid spikes in your blood sugar, which triggers an inflammatory response in your body. Chronic inflammation, as I mentioned before, is a key factor in prostate problems. Regular consumption of sugary drinks is also linked to weight gain and obesity, both risk factors for BPH and prostate cancer. Excess sugar disrupts your insulin levels and can mess with your hormones like estrogen and testosterone, which directly affect your prostate tissue. And here's something that surprises people. Many commercial fruit juices contain added sugar on top of the natural sugars already in the fruit. They're high in calories, but low in actual nutrition. So, what should you drink instead? Water, mate. Lots of water. Or herbal teas. I'm quite partial to a good kawa tea myself. You can also try naturally flavoured water with lemon, cucumber, or mint. If you really want that fruity taste, go for freshly squeezed or blended juices without added sugar, but even then, go easy on them. 4th, highly processed foods containing trans fats. This includes margarine, those biscuits in the packet from the servo, many bakery items, and fried foods. Trans fats are notorious for triggering inflammatory processes in your body. Over time, persistent inflammation can lead to prostate enlargement and even prostate cancer. Trans fats also disrupt the balance of hormones like estrogen, which directly affects your prostate. Any disruption can make your prostate more vulnerable to enlargement or malignant conditions. Plus, these fats increase your bad cholesterol and decrease your good cholesterol, contributing to cardiovascular problems. Poor circulation can affect how nutrients and oxygen reach your prostate. Check your ingredient labels for partially hydrogenated oils. That's your main source of trans fats. Choose whole grain or minimally processed foods when possible. When you're cooking at home, bake, grill, or steam your food instead of frying it. Simple changes like using olive oil or avocado oil can significantly reduce your trans fat intake. Now, number 5, and I know some of you blokes won't want to hear this, but alcohol. Excessive alcohol consumption can damage your prostate in several ways. Your liver processes alcohol, and when you drink too much, your liver can't effectively maintain normal hormone levels. This imbalance affects how testosterone and estrogen regulate your prostate tissue. Heavy drinking can lower testosterone levels and raise estrogen levels, 2 essential elements for prostate health. This fluctuation can worsen problems like BPH and increase your likelihood of developing prostate cancer. Plus, heavy alcohol use can lead to systemic inflammation, one of the underlying factors in many chronic diseases, including prostate conditions. I'm not saying you can't enjoy a beer with your mates at the rugby, but keep it moderate. The guidelines suggest no more than 2 standard drinks per day for men under 65 and 1 per day for blokes over 65. Though honestly, less is always better for your prostate health. Consider alcohol-free options like sparkling water or mocktails when you're looking to cut back. Number 6. Red meat. Now, before all you farmers come after me, I'm not saying never eat red meat, but excessive consumption of red meat, particularly beef, pork, and lamb, has been strongly linked to higher risk of prostate problems. A diet high in red meat can amplify inflammation in your body, which can favour the occurrence of prostate issues. Chronic inflammation creates an environment where abnormal cells can grow more easily. Research shows that consuming red meat can alter hormone levels, affecting testosterone and insulin-like growth factors. These hormonal changes can promote prostate enlargement or the occurrence of cancerous changes. And again, when you cook red meat at high temperatures, like throwing a steak on the barbie, you create carcinogenic compounds that can damage prostate cells. So what's the solution? Replace red meat with poultry, fish, or plant-based options, like tofu, tempeh, beans, and lentils. When you do eat red meat, choose lean cuts and use cooking methods that require lower temperatures, like roasting in the oven or using a slow cooker. And make sure you're eating a balanced diet with plenty of vegetables, whole grains, and healthy fats like those in avocados and nuts. Last but not least, number 7, fried foods. Your hot chips, your fried chicken, your tempura. Frying can create toxic substances like acrylamide, which pose several risks. These chemicals can overwhelm your body's detoxification systems and contribute to inflammation and cell damage. Over time, chronic inflammation makes your prostate more vulnerable to enlargement and malignant conditions. Regular consumption of fried foods is linked to atherosclerosis, clogged arteries, and high blood pressure. Poor circulation can reduce the supply of oxygen and nutrients to your prostate, impairing its function. Plus, fried foods are often high in calories. If you regularly consume more calories than you burn, this can lead to weight gain, another risk factor for prostate problems. Choose cooking techniques like baking, grilling, or steaming instead. These can enhance flavour without adding excessive fat. If you must fry something, use healthier oils like olive oil or avocado oil and control the temperature to minimise the production of harmful compounds. And when you're eating out, sweet as, just choose sides like salads or steamed veggies instead of chips. Right, now here's where I want to address something I see in the comments all the time. People ask, well, what the heck am I supposed to eat then? Cook toilet paper? Fair question, and I get the frustration. It can feel overwhelming when you hear all these things you shouldn't eat. But here's the good news. There are heaps of delicious, prostate-friendly foods you absolutely should be eating more of. Let me share what I call the Prostate Protection Plan. First up, pumpkin seed oil, or pumpkin seeds themselves. One of you legend viewers actually mentioned this in the comments, and you're absolutely right. Pumpkin seeds are brilliant for prostate health. They're loaded with zinc, which is essential for prostate function, and they contain compounds that may help reduce prostate enlargement. Tomatoes are another superstar. They contain lycopene, a powerful antioxidant that's been shown to support prostate health. And here's a tip. Cooked tomatoes actually have more bioavailable lycopene than raw ones, so the pasta sauce or tomato soup is doing you good. Fatty fish like salmon, mackerel, and sardines are excellent. Now, I know someone commented about fish being pumped full of stuff, and yeah, that's a valid concern with farmed fish. Try to go for wild caught when you can, or look for sustainably farmed fish. The omega-3 fatty acids in these fish They're anti-inflammatory and really good for your overall health. Green tea is another one I recommend to my patients. It contains catechins, which have antioxidant properties and may help protect against prostate problems. Plus, it's a nice alternative to those sugary drinks we talked about earlier. Berries, particularly strawberries, blueberries and raspberries, are packed with antioxidants and vitamins. Nuts like almonds, walnuts and Brazil nuts provide healthy fats and selenium. And cruciferous vegetables like broccoli, cauliflower and Brussels sprouts contain compounds that may help reduce cancer risk. I also want to address the confusion about fat versus sugar, because I see this question come up a lot. Someone mentioned that they've heard it's not the fat that's harmful, but rather the sugar used as a flavour substitute in reduced fat products. And you know what? There's truth to that. Not all fats are bad. The trans fats and excessive saturated fats we talked about, those are problematic. But healthy fats from avocados, olive oil, nuts and fish are actually really good for you. The issue with reduced fat products is that when manufacturers remove the fat, they often add sugar to make up for the lost flavour. So you might be avoiding fat but loading up on sugar instead, which causes its own set of problems with inflammation and blood sugar spikes. My advice? Don't be afraid of healthy fats, but do watch out for added sugars in processed foods. Now, I want to share a practical example. I had this patient from Christchurch, 68 years old, came to me with classic BPH symptoms. He was sceptical about dietary changes making a difference. "Doc," he said, "I've eaten the same way for 40 years. But he was willing to give it a go because his symptoms were really affecting his quality of life. We didn't do anything drastic. We just made some simple swaps. Instead of bacon and eggs every morning, he started having porridge with berries and a handful of walnuts. Instead of his lunchtime meat pie, he'd have a salad with grilled chicken or salmon. He swapped his afternoon fizzy drink for green tea. He still had red meat, but only once or twice a week instead of daily, and he started taking a tablespoon of pumpkin seed oil each morning. 3 months later, he came back for a follow-up. His symptoms had improved significantly. 6 months in, his prostate size had reduced measurably on ultrasound. Was it just the diet? Hard to say, definitively, but he felt better, his inflammation markers were down, and he was sleeping through the night again. That's what matters. Here's another thing I want to address because I see the frustration in the comments. The quality of our food supply. Someone mentioned that even the healthy options like chicken and fish can be pumped full of hormones or antibiotics. And yeah, that's a legitimate concern. This is why I always recommend, when possible, choosing organic or free-range options, buying from local farmers' markets, and knowing where your food comes from. Here in New Zealand, we're actually quite lucky. Our food standards are generally pretty good, and we have access to fresh, quality produce. Take advantage of that. Get to know your local butcher, your fishmonger. They can tell you where their products come from and how they were raised or caught. I also want to make something clear. I'm not saying you can never have a bacon sarnie again, or that you can't enjoy a steak at your mate's barbie. It's about balance and moderation. The problem isn't having these foods occasionally. It's when they become your daily staples. If processed meat, fried foods, and sugary drinks are what you're eating most of the time, that's when you run into trouble. Think of it this way. Aim for the 80-20 rule. 80% of the time, eat whole, unprocessed foods that support your health. The other 20%, enjoy life. Have that beer at the rugby. Have that slice of pavlova at Christmas. Have that sausage at the barbie. It's the overall pattern that matters, not the occasional treat. And let me tell you, your prostate isn't the only thing that'll benefit from these changes. My patients who make these dietary shifts often tell me they've got more energy, they're sleeping better, their blood pressure's improved, they've lost a bit of weight around the middle. It's all connected. Your whole body benefits when you eat well. I also recommend keeping a food diary for a week or two. Just write down what you're eating and when. You might be surprised at what you find. Maybe you didn't realize you were having 3 fizzy drinks a day, or that you were having processed meat at almost every meal. Once you can see the patterns, it's easier to make changes. Start small. Don't try to overhaul your entire diet overnight. That's a recipe for failure. Pick 1 or 2 changes to start with. Maybe swap your morning orange juice for water with lemon. Maybe have meatless Monday, where you try some plant-based proteins. Small changes add up over time, and they're much more sustainable than trying to do everything at once. And here's my challenge for you. Take a look at what you're eating this week. How many of these 7 problem foods are you having regularly? Be honest with yourself. Then pick just 1 swap you're going to make. Maybe it's switching from full cream milk to trim milk. Maybe it's having grilled fish instead of fried fish and chips on Friday night. Maybe it's swapping your afternoon Coke for a cup of green tea. Try that one change for 2 weeks and see how you feel. I reckon you'll notice a difference. Then add another change. Before you know it, you've transformed your diet without it feeling like a massive sacrifice. Look, I've been working with blokes and their prostate issues for over 15 years now, and I can tell you, hand on heart, that diet matters. It's not the only factor. Genetics and lifestyle play a role too, but it's something you have control over. You can't change your genes, but you can change what you put on your plate.
I want you to think about your quality of life. Do you want to be getting up 5 times a night to use the loo? Do you want to be dealing with discomfort and worry? Or do you want to sleep through the night, feel energized during the day, and not have to plan your life around where the nearest toilet is? The choice is yours, and it starts with what you eat. Your body is incredibly resilient, and it responds to the fuel you give it. Feed it well, and it'll serve you well. It's that simple. So what are you going to do? Which of these 7 foods are you eating regularly right now? What's the first change you're going to make? Drop a comment below and let me know. I read every single one, and I love hearing about your journeys. Your experience might inspire someone else to take that first step toward better prostate health. And if you found this helpful, share it with your mates. Prostate health isn't something us Kiwi blokes talk about enough, but we should.
Looking after yourself isn't weakness, it's smart. Take care of your health now, and you'll be able to enjoy all those years ahead with your family, your grandkids, doing the things you love. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. In the meantime, remember, knowledge is power, but action makes the difference. Make those healthier choices, and here's to a stronger, healthier future. Kia kaha, everyone.